you've mentioned a few times about your story and kind of touched on how you've changed from keto to introducing carbohydrates. Can you start from the beginning of your journey? You know, wherever you want to
Yeah.
start it. You know, whether it's getting into training or getting into diet and gut health and stuff like that. Like, where did it all start for you?
Yeah. So I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 12, juvenile myoclonic epilepsy. So I was having grand mal seizures. I was on a lot of medication with severe side effects, but back then they said it was one of the safest medications. And then as time evolved, no, it wasn't. So it caused pancreatitis within my, it caused pancreatitis, and that was in 2003. So then they switched medications. I had more seizures. They added more. And I remember back then, around that time when I was in college, Googling natural ways to heal epilepsy. And I came across ketogenic diet, but there was not much information on the internets back then. So it was always in the back of my mind, but I didn't know who to talk to about it. Whenever I asked my neurologist, they said that's just for children with epilepsy. Fast forward to 2016, I have my first son, and I had gained about 60 pounds during that pregnancy. So I was up to 220 pounds. I was already a little bit overweight prior to, but yeah, I was at 220 when he was born. I was miserable. I had insulin resistance. I don't know how we conceived him. I had PCOS, like really, really bad, anxiety, panic attacks. I couldn't drive anymore because I was too panicky driving, digestive issues, not sleeping well, like the whole gamut. And I just got to the point, okay, I need to do something. So I'm going to cut out the junk food. Like I'm going to just stop buying processed foods and start eating regular foods. And I did that, and it helped a little bit, but I know, like hindsight, there was not much protein in there. It was whole foods, but there was what I thought was whole foods. Like it was a lot of the kashi stuff, a lot of processed stuff still. So then I started learning about ketogenic. I watched a documentary about it, and I said, "Oh, okay, let's just try this." My husband joined in with me, and he has colitis, so his colitis reversed very quickly. Like within 5 weeks, he was good. So for me, it was a journey, but it did help for that time being. It helped me get off of a bunch of medications. It helped my PCOS. I lost 80 pounds. My panic attacks and anxiety were incredibly better. So I don't like to bash on keto or carnivore or any of those because I do think they are tools in the toolbox, but that's exactly what they are. I, on the other hand, thought because my life had changed so drastically, this is how it was supposed to be forever. So why did I shift away from that? So keto was in 2016, 17, somewhere in there. And I started noticing massive gut pain that I had to keep taking supplements for, like aloe, slippery elm, DGL, to calm whatever was happening in there. My hair was falling out in clumps, and I just could not eat enough. We were talking about eating enough calories. I was pretty much like a 1,500 calorie girl. I just could not. I was so full. I was so satiated, and no matter how much I tried to reverse diet, I couldn't get up there. I couldn't get to that 2,000 calorie mark or wherever I should have been at that time. So, so then I would say 2 to 3 years ago, I was working with a coach who had me reintroduce carbohydrates strategically, but I didn't follow his plan properly, I'll admit. There were parts that it's hard coming from keto to bring the fat down. It really is. It's so strange. But my thyroid did drastically improve. Like my free T3 was down to 1.9 on carnivore, and it's supposed to be like 3 to 5. So, well, at least the metrics we use here in the US. So um, it started improving, but I was too scared, and I jumped ship until last year. And I was like, all right, I'm done with this. I'm tired of gaining weight because my weight was coming back up. My A1C was creeping back up. My thyroid was going down. My lipids weren't good. I was like, okay, it was working at first. Now I need to change. So that's when I brought in the whole food carbs. I started eating some more fruits, squash, pumpkin, all those kind of things. And since starting that in June last year, I've lost 4 pounds of body fat. I just did a DEXA scan to confirm that. So 4 pounds of body fat. My muscle mass has not gone up yet, but it stayed the same. So I call that a win. Um, and yeah, like feeling better. I'm not losing clumps of hair. Like I thought the amount I was losing was normal, And I'm like, wow, my husband's happy the shower's cleaner.
Yeah.
There's not as much hair
Yeah.
sitting on the wall, right? So the hair, the sleep, I thought I had good sleep, but it got even better. So there's been a lot of things, and I'm not going to say it was a smooth sail. There's definitely a lot of trial and error coming from 6 years, 7 years of high fat to swap that to bring, I don't like to say low fat. It's just that balance between the fat and the carbs that work for me. And yeah, it's been quite the journey. But learning that metabolic flexibility and working on gut health, I did have some gut issues once I tested. I was like, okay, I got to work on those things. I had a very high E. coli amount. Um, but yeah, all of that's been fantastic, and I feel such a new freedom being able to not have to stress about when I go over a family member's house, can I eat the potatoes? Can I, like it looks a little easier and normal for me. But yeah, that and lifting in the gym, for all those years I could not break my PRs. And within the past 7 months, I look at my tracker and it's going up the amount I'm lifting, deadlifting, and all that, and it's exciting to see.
Yeah, that's cool. That's such a story. And that's, with your lifting thing, like that's something that I experienced as well. I've gone through many different diets too. I've tried the ketogenic diet. I've tried intermittent fasting. I've tried 1 meal a day. I went through the ringer. I did 1,500 calories for I can't remember the time, but it was somewhere between 3 to 6 months. Very low energy, but I just had grit where I was like, I'm so tough. I'm I'm such a savage eating 1,500 calories every day. And it really bit me in the butt in terms of energy, in terms of mood. I was such a
Hmm.
bother to be around, but I just thought I was so hardcore because I was reading these online forums that were, how to get shredded and how to do this and that. And then, I just concluded, well, less and less and less and less is going to be best. That's how I'm going to be so shredded, right? And I wasn't the kind of bodybuilder that I was looking at on the forums. I was like a stick because I was so malnourished. And I was like doing cardio once a day, doing sprints, then lifting weights, not sleeping. And although I've never really had gut issues, my energy absolutely tanked. But come forward, I think it was around a similar time, around 2015, 2016. I was trying the whole low carb thing, very ketogenic, like trying to keep it below like 50 grams of carbohydrates, which is challenging because I have a very high level of calories too. Like to maintain, I need to eat 3,500 calories. And to have
Yeah.
3,500 calories to try keep it down to like 50 grams, like even 100, is very challenging. And I just couldn't lift. I couldn't train. I would, but like you said, I was just so weak, and I just had nothing. And I remember looking at things like, oh, you just need to keep pushing through because you need to get fat adapted, and then once you get there, you're gonna, the sun
Yeah.
is gonna start shining, and you will just be so strong. And yeah, I guess I never got fat adapted, or the sun never shined because I just struggled and struggled and struggled. And then even with my physique, which was why I did it, I just wanted to be jacked. It kind of looked a bit like just like sloppy and like watery. And then when I brought back in carbohydrates, number one, my energy was fantastic. Number two, I got way stronger. And then number three, I looked better. And as like a young teenager, I just, that's basically why I was doing it. Um, but carbohydrates, I've been a massive fan pretty much since the get-go, or like since 2016 onwards. Like I knew they were good, but I tried to, okay, let's go keto to try to get lean. Let's try, low carb, and then let's add an intermittent fasting too. So we've got two things going at the same time, bam, let's times two it. But I've been a big, almost like high carbohydrate fan because that is how I operate best. I think it's because I have crazy physical activity levels. I average, at the moment, my Whoop's saying I get 17,000 steps a day. I don't know how it happens, but it
Wow.
happens. And then I train, 3 or 4 times a week. I do jujitsu a couple times a week, so
Oh yeah.
it's pretty high. So I need carbohydrates, so I'm always very high
Yeah.
on it. And often people don't eat enough to support their physical activity when they start training.